Ever find yourself, staring at two words? They sound almost the same, maybe look similar, and you just know one's right and the other makes you sound, well, a bit off.
Happens all the time, doesn't it? That little doubt creeping in.
Exactly. So today, we're tackling that head on. Think of this as a decoder ring for some really common, kind of tricky vocabulary pairs. We've got 30 examples lined up.
Right. And it's not just about memorizing the answers. We've set this up like a language proficiency challenge, but the real goal is understanding why.
Yeah, why one fits and the other one just doesn't. We want to get into the grammar, the meaning, the whole shebang.
Precisely. It's about looking under the hood, seeing how the parts of speech work together in the sentence. So you can take that understanding and apply it anywhere, not just to these 30 questions.
Okay, so here's the plan. We go through each question one by one. We'll pick out the right word.
Yep.
And then really break down why it's right. Is it an adjective, a noun? What job is it doing?
And those subtle meaning differences, too. Sometimes that's the key.
Absolutely. And we'll be looking for patterns, little clues you can spot next time you're stuck on a word choice.
So by the end, hopefully you'll feel much more confident with these specific words. Sure, but also just have a better feel for how to approach vocabulary challenges in general, building that intuition.
All right, let's do it. First one up. The politicians' plausibility explanation failed to convince the public. What's your first reaction?
Plausible feels right there, doesn't it?
Yeah, my gut says plausible too. It just flows better.
Yeah.
But let's dig into the why. What's modifying explanation here?
Exactly. We need something to describe the explanation, right? We need an adjective.
Okay.
And plausible is the adjective. It means, believable, seemingly reasonable. Now, plausibility.
That sounds like the quality of being plausible, like a noun.
Spot on. Plausibility is the noun. It's the concept of being believable. So grammatically, it just doesn't fit before explanation. We need that descriptive word, the adjective.
Okay, makes sense. So pattern number one right there. Figure out what kind of word the sentence needs. Adjective, noun, adverb. That helps narrow it down immediately.
It's fundamental. Okay, let's try number 2. Her response was defensive, defensible, given the accusations she faced.
Ooh, this one feels a bit tougher. Both defensive and defensible sound like adjectives.
They are. That's why you have to look closer at the meaning. What's the difference, really?
Well, defensible sounds like
Yeah.
you can defend it. It's justifiable.
Exactly. Justifiable, supportable. Given the context, the accusations, a justifiable response makes logical sense.
Okay, and defensive. That sounds more like how she reacted, like putting up walls.
Right. Acting protective, maybe overly sensitive to criticism. While her manner might have been defensive, the sentence seems to be about the substance of the response, whether it could be justified. So defensible fits the core meaning better here.
Ah, okay. So it's about justification, defensible, versus reaction, defensive. Subtle, but important. Even with the same part of speech, the context and exact meaning are crucial.
Definitely. Context is king. All right, number 3. The respectable respecting man donated millions to charity every year.
This feels easier. Respectable seems like the obvious choice. Respecting man sounds odd.
It does, doesn't it? Respectable is the adjective we use to mean worthy of respect, describing the man's quality or reputation.
And respecting.
That's the present participle of the verb to respect. You could say a man respecting the rules where he's actively doing something. But as a general description of his character, respectable is the standard adjective.
Got it. So don't confuse a verb form doing an action with the adjective describing a characteristic.
Precisely. Number 4. He remained incredulous, incredible, even after seeing the proof.
Okay, these sound alike, but mean totally different things.
A classic trap. Incredulous is means.
Disbelieving. Skeptical.
Yes, he saw the proof but still couldn't believe it. That fits, but incredible means.
Amazing. Unbelievable in a good way, usually.
Right, almost the opposite of what the sentence needs. He wasn't amazed, he was doubtful.
So another key pattern. Watch out for words that sound similar but have very different, sometimes opposite meanings. Always check the definition fits the sentence's logic.
Absolutely critical. Okay, question 5. The manager's tone was authoritative, authoritarian, not open to discussion.
Both suggest being in charge, but authoritarian feels harsher.
It does carry a stronger, usually negative weight. Authoritative means confident, commanding, maybe based on expertise. It doesn't automatically mean dictatorial.
But authoritarian, that's more like do as they say, very strict, no questions asked.
Exactly. It implies imposing will, being oppressive. While the manager wasn't open to discussion, which leans a bit authoritarian, the word describing the tone itself is more likely authoritative, commanding respect, even if firm. Authoritarian describes the whole style of rule more than just the tone.
Interesting. So it's about the connotations.
Mm.
Authoritative can be positive or neutral. Authoritarian is almost always negative. You need to pick the one that fits the nuance.
You got it. Nuance is everything. Number 6. It was a notorious, notable event in the company's history.
Notable just means worth noting, right? Significant.
Yep. Pretty straightforward.
But notorious. That means famous for something bad, doesn't it?
It does. Famous for negative reasons.
Yep.
So the choice really depends on what kind of event it was. If it was a scandal, notorious fits. If it was just important, notable works. Without more context, notorious suggests a significant, possibly infamous event.
So context again. You can't just say famous. You need to know why it's famous.
Exactly. Okay. 7. His speech was rhetorical rhetoric, more style than substance.
Ah, okay. One's an adjective, one's a noun here, related to speaking persuasively.
Right on track. We need a word to describe this speech, so we need...
An adjective, which would be rhetorical, a rhetorical speech.
Perfect. Rhetorical relates to the art of rhetoric. Rhetoric itself is the noun, the art or study. So adjective rhetorical modifies noun speech.
Back to basics. Noun versus adjective, identifying the job the word needs to do. Simple but effective.
It really is. Number 8. The effect was illusionary, illusory, rather than real.
These look almost the same. Illusion something is one preferred.
Generally, yes. Illusory is the standard accepted adjective meaning deceptive or based on illusion. Illusionary is much less common, sometimes considered non-standard or just an awkward variation.
So sometimes it's just about knowing the standard form.
Pretty much. You stick with illusory. Okay, 9. She has a very discerning, discriminating taste in literature.
Both imply good judgment, making careful choices. But discriminating can sound negative these days.
Yeah, it definitely can. While it can mean making fine distinctions, like discerning taste, it's so often associated with unfair bias against groups that discerning is usually the safer, more positive choice here.
So discerning clearly means good judgment and taste.
Right. It highlights her ability to judge quality well without the negative baggage that discriminating often carries now, sensitive to those connotations.
Gotcha. Be aware of the words social or emotional weight. Okay, number 10. Their friendship was built on mutually respect and understanding.
What are respect and understanding here?
They're nouns, things.
Right. So what kind of word do we need to describe them, showing they're shared?
An adjective. So, mutual respect.
Exactly. Mutual is the adjective, meaning shared. Mutually is the adverb. You might say they mutually agreed, modifying the verb agreed. But you need the adjective mutual to modify the nouns respect and understanding.
Clear adjective versus adverb distinction again. That pattern is super helpful. 10 down.
Halfway there. Okay, 11. The company's retrenchment retraction strategy helped cut costs.
The key phrase is cut costs. Which word relates to reducing spending?
That would be retrenchment. In business, retrenchment means cutting back, reducing expenses. Here, the noun retrenchment is acting like an adjective describing the strategy.
And retraction.
That means taking something back, like retracting a statement, doesn't fit cutting costs at all.
Okay, so understanding the specific meaning, especially in a business context, points to retrenchment. Sometimes nouns act like adjectives.
They do. It's called a noun adjunct.
Okay.
12. His response seemed too calculating to be sincere.
Both suggest thinking ahead, planning. But calculating sounds sneakier.
Exactly. Calculated just means planned, thought out. But calculating has that negative edge. It implies cold, scheming, manipulative planning, which fits perfectly with the idea of seeming insincere.
Right. The insincerity points towards calculating being the better fit because of its negative connotation.
Precisely that negative nuance. Okay, 13. The court ruled that his actions were not legitimized.
Court rulings. We need a word meaning lawful or proper.
Which would be?
Legitimate. That's the adjective meaning lawful.
Correct. Legitimized is the past participle of the verb to legitimize the act of making something legitimate. We need the adjective to describe the actions.
Another case of needing the adjective descriptor, not the verb form.
Yep. 14. The theory, while elegant, is scientifically untenable, untenanted.
Okay, untenanted means empty, like an apartment, right? Doesn't apply to a theory.
Exactly. Irrelevant here. So it must be untenable. What does that mean?
It means you can't defend it. not supportable.
Perfect. A scientifically untenable theory can't be supported by evidence or logic.
So understanding the core meaning and its relevance to the context science in this case.
Absolutely. 15. Her view was bias prejudiced against new immigrants.
Both imply unfairness. But prejudiced feels more targeted and negative, especially with against new immigrants.
I agree. Bias can be more general-leaning one way or another. Prejudiced specifically implies a preconceived negative judgment, often against a group. That fits the strong negative context here better.
So prejudiced captures the negative direction and the group focus more strongly than just biased.
Exactly. The strength and direction of the bias matter. 16. The professor made a compelling compulsory argument for the policy.
Arguments are usually compulsory, like required attendance. They're meant to persuade.
Right. So which word means persuasive or convincing?
Compelling. A compelling argument makes you want to agree.
Precisely. It describes the quality or effect of the argument.
Okay, makes sense. 17. The two cases are not analogous analytical in any meaningful way.
What's the sentence saying about the cases?
That they're not similar, not comparable.
Okay, so which word relates to comparison or similarity?
Analogous. Things that are analogous can be and analytical is about analysis, breaking things down.
Correct. The sentence is about the lack of comparability, so analogous is the right concept here.
Focusing on the relationship being described. Comparison. Got it. 18. He's a highly articulated speaker.
What do we usually say about someone who speaks clearly and well?
We say they're articulate.
Exactly. Articulate is the adjective for clear, fluent speech. Articulated is often used differently, like for joints or vehicles.
Right, like an articulated lorry.
Right.
Not for describing a speaker's skill. So use the standard adjective for the skill.
Yep. 19. His criticisms were vindicative, driven by resentment.
Driven by resentment screams revenge.
It does. And which word means seeking revenge?
That would be vindictive.
Correct. Vindicative is a much rarer word, meaning something like clearing someone of blame. Totally different, and vindictive fits the resentment clue perfectly.
Okay, so recognizing the common word versus a very rare, almost archaic one.
Sometimes it's that simple. 20. The article was replete deplete with factual errors.
If it's with errors, it means it's full of them.
So which word means filled with or full of?
Replete with errors.
Perfect. And deplete.
That means to use up or empty out. The opposite.
Exactly. Another antonym trap. Always check the meaning makes sense. We're in the final stretch now.
All right, let's finish strong. 21. Their negotiation strategy was overly confrontational, confronting.
Describing a strategy, likely aggressive in this context.
Yeah, confrontational sounds right. It means likely to cause conflict. Confronting strategy feels a bit clunky.
It does. Confrontational is the standard adjective here to describe the nature of the strategy. Confronting is the participle.
That pattern again. Prefer the standard adjective form over the participle for description.
Generally a good rule of thumb. 22.
That was a very provocative, provoking comment to make.
Similar idea. A comment designed to get a reaction.
Right. And the adjective for that is?
Provocative. It means intended to provoke a reaction. Again, provoking comment sounds less natural than provocative comment.
Exactly. Stick with the standard adjective provocative.
Okay. 23. The author's tone throughout the novel is ironical.
Is there a difference here, or is one just more common?
I feel like I always hear ironic. Is ironical even a word people use much?
Not really anymore.
Yeah.
Ironic is the standard current adjective. Ironical is pretty much outdated.
So just knowing the modern preferred form.
Sometimes that's all it is. 24. She was praised for her resiliency under pressure.
Ability to bounce back. Both seem to mean that. Is one better?
Resilience is definitely the more common and generally preferred noun form. Resiliency exists, you might see it, but resilience is standard.
Okay. Stick with resilience as the go-to. Good to know. Yeah.
25. This data is dispensable to our findings.
If it's crucial to the findings, you absolutely need it. Can't dispense with it.
So
indispensable, absolutely necessary.
Right. And dispensable means the opposite. You can get rid of it.
Another antonym pair. Got to watch those prefixes in and dis.
Definitely. 26. His writing is known for its lucidness, and flow.
Talking about clarity in writing.
Both nouns mean clarity, lucidity and lucidness. Any preference?
Lucidity sounds maybe a bit more formal, more elegant.
I'd agree, Both are technically correct, but lucidity is often preferred, especially in more formal or academic writing about clarity of thought or expression.
Okay, a subtle stylistic choice there. Good to be aware of.
It is 27. The government's stance was unreconcilable with the oppositions.
Meaning they couldn't agree, totally incompatible.
Which form do we usually use for that?
Irreconcilable, with an ear, is unreconcilable wrong. It's generally considered non-standard, or at least very rare. Irreconcilable is the one you'll see and use.
Stick to the standard form then.
Exactly, 28. His methods were methodological, methodical, and thorough.
Thorough suggests being careful, systematic, step by step.
Okay, so which method word fits with systematic and thorough?
Methodical, acting in an orderly way. Methodological sounds more academic, like about the study of methods itself.
Precisely. Methodical describes the way he does things systematically. Methodological relates to the theory or system of methods being used, like in research.
So methodical for the action, methodological for the underlying system. Got it.
Right. 29. She maintained a detaching attitude throughout the discussion.
An unemotional, objective attitude, a state of being.
So the adjective describing that state is...
Detached. She was detached. Detaching sounds like the process of becoming detached.
Exactly. We need the adjective detached to describe her attitude, her state.
Okay, that standard adjective versus participle pattern one last time.
Seems so. And finally, number 30. The evidence presented was circumstanced, not conclusive.
Ah, legal term. Evidence that suggests something but doesn't prove it directly.
And that type of evidence is called?
Circumstantial. Circumstantial evidence.
Correct. Circumstance isn't really the standard term used to describe evidence in this way.
So knowing the specific jargon for fields like law is important too.
Yeah.
Wow, okay, we made it through all 30. That was quite the workout.
It was. So, thinking back over all those examples, what's the big takeaway? What's the key thing you want listeners to remember?
For me, it really comes down to two main things. Understanding the word's job in the sentence, it's part of speech, and then really zeroing in on its specific meaning, including those subtle connotations.
Absolutely. Time and again, that's what made the difference. Do you need an adjective or a noun? Does this word have a negative feel that the other one doesn't? Is this the standard form or some rare variation?
Yeah, and those patterns we saw. Checking grammar, looking at connotations, standard versus non-standard forms, verb forms versus adjectives, and always, always letting the context guide the choice.
And these aren't just tricks for, passing a test. This is about communicating clearly, effectively, accurately. Understanding these things makes you a better writer, a better speaker, a better reader.
Definitely. It sharpens your thinking about language itself. So our challenge to you, the listener, is to start applying these strategies. When you hit a tricky word choice, pause. Think about the part of speech needed, the precise meaning. Look for those clues.
And maybe think about this. How does having a stronger grasp of vocabulary actually empower you? Not just in exams, but in making your point, understanding others, navigating information.
That's a great question to ponder. What vocabulary hurdles have you jumped recently? Or which ones still trip you up? Something to think about.
Well, thanks for diving deep with us today into the sometimes tricky world of word choice. We hope this gives you some solid tools for your language toolkit.
Yeah. Hope it was helpful. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.